Today we're going to talk a little bit about cross-platform development and in particular about development on React Native. Let's start. What is React Native? Here is like a beautiful definition which says that React Native is an open source library. By the way, it's not a framework because some sources say that it is a framework, but React Native docs define itself as a library because it has not underneath the hood all the stuff that you need to call it framework. So it is just a library developed by Facebook, and it allows developers to build cross-platform mobile application using JavaScript and React. So the main platforms to build application on is iOS and Android platforms, but it also allows you to compile your application to web. Here are some use cases and popular apps that are developed with React Native. As you can see from the screen, such huge companies as Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, also Wix, Shopify, Puma, PlayStation, Tesla, and many other platforms are using React Native to develop their different mobile apps. Here also is the screen with some of them. That proves that React Native is widely used nowadays. So let's see why it is so used, and let's begin with how it works. Here you can see a diagram which explains in very simple way how React Native and JavaScript code works with iOS and Android and also for web. So we have React Native as a library, which is written on JavaScript. You also can read your own components and your own code on JavaScript, and then it should be somehow transferred to native device, I mean iOS or Android, because they don't understand JavaScript. They use Objective-C and Swift for iOS, and Java or Kotlin for Android. So there is a bridge, and JavaScript bridge, which transforms JavaScript code to, not transforms, but passes JavaScript code to native devices, and also passes back native events and all user interaction with device to JavaScript. Native code, it is working on devices, and JavaScript should have a virtual machine. Underneath the hood, JavaScript bridge using C++ to convert everything on the languages which is recognizable by native devices. Also, here you can see that data is passed by JSON. You may know or not that all programming languages, they support understanding of JSON and also sending data on JSON. So that is the format which React Native uses to communicate from native devices to JavaScript itself. Also, you can see here native models and a shadow tree. It's about threads and how exactly React Native process the app working and the app flow on devices. So there are three main threads which are started by default, but when it is needed, they can be more. So main thread is running on native app on Android or iOS. Also, there is a JavaScript thread which runs all logic, all business logic that you write on JavaScript side, and also there is a shadow tree which compiles a view and also converts all JavaScript components to view, how it can be inserted to native devices. To understand how the bridge work, here is a very cool example or comparison. It's like a front end and back end on web. So they cannot know anything. They can not nothing about each other, but still they are communicating and passes data back and forward. Um, Let's go next. Let's talk about ecosystem and development process. When you develop an application on React Native, here are things that you needed. Android Studio to compile app for Android platform, Xcode to compile for iOS platform, and iOS device and Android device themselves to be able for testing your application. So this is like the minimal setup that you need. Also, like there are a lot of cases when people using React Native for developing only for Android, so then Xcode and iOS device is not needed. Let's go here and talk about how development process is occurring. React Native is using Metro Bundler. It is something similar like Webpack bundler for JavaScript and other applications, and it has three main like features or stages of running application on a device. So dependency resolution. First of all, Metro resolves all dependencies and build a dependency graph with all of libraries, modules, and third-party libraries that you may include in your code. Then all JavaScript files are bundling into one big JavaScript file, and it passes it is passed to native devices. And here is like the main from my perspective, it is the cooler feature of React Native. It's hot module reload and fast reload. So what is it? Hot module reload. It, by the way, it is working very similar like in React apps. When you running it on web, you can like see your changes on fly. So Metro sees every change that you are making in code, and it also sees the model where you making these changes. Then it reloading only that model, and everything other in app, it's like code base, its data, and its state, it remains the same. So this feature allows to work with React Native really fast, and you like don't need every time to recompile or rebuild whole application just to see your even small changes. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about advantages and disadvantages of React Native, and then we will go to comparison with other cross-platform development tools. So advantages: single code base. You have single code base for every platform, so you don't need to write like a different code for Android and iOS specific on Swift or Objective-C or Java or Kotlin. You have just JS code, and it is transformed and compiled to everything that is needed from Java or Kotlin or Swift side. Also, they say that React Native has near native performance. So what does it mean? It means that development on React Native is very close to development on just native, like C++ or any other languages that supports like native events, native components, native views, which can be compiled for like any platform that you need. Also, we talked about hot reloading and fast refresh, and the second, sorry, not the second. Also there is two cool points about React Native. It's strong community and backend, and also rich ecosystem and libraries from all we will talk about it also, I will mention later, but from every like cross-platform development system or framework library, React Native has the biggest community, and it has the most amount of third-party libraries and developed models. Now about disadvantages. React Native has some performance limitations. JavaScript bridge that we talked about earlier, it is not so cool, and like everyone who was learning JavaScript deeper, he or she knows that and JavaScript is kind of very badly underneath the hood, and it also is reflecting here in JavaScript bridge, because in a lot of cases you can have performance limitations or even some bugs with renderings and compiling to native views and native code. Also, dependence on native models. Here is the thing that there are a lot of features on like iOS and Android, and I even had earlier a case when I needed to develop like a live activity for iOS. It's like how to say it. It's like push notification, but it is dynamically updated, and it stays until until some process is lasting. It will be showing, keep showing on your screen. But a lot of these like models like this, they hasn't a model written on React Native. So you need to write your own model on Swift or Objective-C, or if it was for Android, you must use the Kotlin or Java, and here exactly is the place where some hard things comes up. Also, debugging challenges. When you are writing on JavaScript, you can see like everything from JavaScript side, but it is really hard to debug what is happening on native sides of each device, because you have like no you have access, but it is so restricted, and you need to like include some other libraries or find out solutions how to debug everything that is happening on native side. And the last one, it is actually kind of funny, but version mismatches and compatibility issues, they are caused because of very frequent updates for React Native itself, and also a lot of models that are widely used. They are updating really very frequent. And that is the place where if you have a lot of third-party models, libraries, you can sometimes face an issue that it was working, but now it isn't, because just some model was updated or React Native was updating, and you need to find fixes or find other like versions which would be matching and working okay. Now, let's talk about comparison, React Native with Flutter and with MyUI. Flutter and MyUI are also sorry for my English. Flutter and MyUI are also cross-platform development tools. Flutter is presented by Google, and MyUI it is Xamarin, but in 2022, if I'm not mistaken, in 2022, Microsoft bought it and made from it MyUI. It's like multi-platform application UI. React Native uses JavaScript as its programming language, while Flutter using Dart and MyUI using C#. I am not so familiar with Dart and C#, but I've tried them both, and I would really say that JavaScript is the easiest way to start in programming. So when like the developer or even a person who wants to be a developer looking for something, some place to start or some technology to start with on cross-platform development. React Native is better choice because of JavaScript is easier programming languages than these two. Next, platforms like which these different frameworks allows to compile apps to. So React Native allows only for iOS, Android, and web, while while Flutter allows you to compile your application to everything like iOS, Android, web, Windows, macOS, and even Linux. Also, MyUI has a wider options than React Native, but still less than Flutter. It has only iOS, Android, Windows, and macOS. I mentioned already about by whom these libraries and frameworks were presented, like Facebook, React Native, Google presented Flutter, and Microsoft presented MyUI. I also mentioned about large community of React Native, but here like Flutter and MyUI are not so so much worse than React Native because Flutter has a very growing community and it has a rich ecosystem of packages and plugins. And also MyUI have a lot of resources and it has support of the Microsoft community. Sorry. Yeah, and about some features like React Native creates native code at runtime, and it may lead to performance differences and performance issues. I mentioned about it already when we talked about disadvantages. This is exactly a disadvantage of JavaScript bridge, which React Native uses. While Flutter, it compiles native code for optimized user experiences, and it is better in performance. And MyUI use .NET 6 integration, and it has the highest performance. Well, I may be mistaken. Maybe Flutter has a higher performance, but in the source, I left a link here. In the source, it is said that MyUI has the highest performance. So, thanks for attention.